Ever pondered the enigma that is Ethereum? Ever been intrigued by its intricate workings? Allow us to guide you into the world of Ethereum, a revolutionary technology that transcends the definition of mere cryptocurrency. Ready to delve deeper? First, understand that Ethereum is a cryptocurrency, but it offers so much more. It on the cutting-edge technology of blockchain, presenting a form of digital currency that is anything but ordinary. Second, Ethereum paves the way for the operation of smart contracts, self-executing contracts with the terms of the agreement inscribed into code lines, serving as a decentralized platform. You may want to liken this to Bitcoin, but Ethereum's technological enhancements set it apart. It's not just another cryptocurrency. It's a platform for creating and managing applications that function exactly as programmed without any possibility of downtime, censorship, fraud, or external interference. So Ethereum is not just another cryptocurrency, it's a whole new way of making and executing contracts in a trustless environment. Fascinating, isn't? Let's travel back in time and discover the roots of Ethereum. In the year 2015, a young Russian-Canadian programmer named Vitalik Buterin introduced the world to Ethereum. Buterin, inspired by Bitcoin's blockchain technology, envisioned a platform where developers could build and run their own applications. He wanted to take the concept of decentralized technology to the next level, and thus Ethereum was born. Ethereum's launch was met with great enthusiasm, and it quickly gained traction as a platform for decentralized applications, or dApps. It introduced the concept of smart contracts, self-executing contracts with the terms of the agreement directly written into code. This revolutionary idea opened up a world of possibilities from decentralized finance to virtual reality games. However, Ethereum's journey hasn't been without its fair share of challenges. In 2016, a venture capital fund called the DAO, Decentralized Autonomous Organization, was built on Ethereum. The DAO was designed to work like a venture capital fund for the crypto and decentralized space. The idea was simple. People would buy DAO tokens, giving them rights to vote on potential projects. If a proposed project got enough votes, the DAO would fund it. But a few months after the DAO's creation, it was hacked. The attacker exploited a loophole in the DAO's smart contract, draining out a third of the DAO's funds. This event shook the Ethereum community, leading to a hard fork in the blockchain to reverse the hack and recover the funds. This decision was not without controversy, as it went against the principle of immutability, a key tenet of blockchain technology. The hard fork resulted in two separate blockchains, Ethereum, ETH, which reversed the hack, and Ethereum Classic, ETC, which continued on the original blockchain where the hack occurred. This was a significant milestone in Ethereum's history, highlighting the complexities and ethical dilemmas in the world of blockchain and cryptocurrency. Ethereum's history is a testament to its resilience and adaptability, qualities that are essential in the ever-evolving world of blockchain technology. Now that you know what Ethereum is and where it came from, you might be wondering, how does it work? Well, the backbone of the Ethereum network is its miners. These are not people with pickaxes and hard hats, but powerful computers that solve complex mathematical problems. This process, known as mining, is essential for the network's security and functionality. Let's break it down. When a transaction occurs on the Ethereum network, it's not immediately added to the blockchain. Instead, it goes into a pool of unconfirmed transactions. Miners then select a group of these transactions and do the hard work of validating them. This is where the mining comes in. Miners use their computational power to solve a cryptographic puzzle. This puzzle is essentially a complex mathematical problem. The first miner to solve the problem gets to add a new block of transactions to the blockchain. This is known as finding a block. But what's in it for the miners? Well, they're rewarded with Ether, the cryptocurrency of the Ethereum network. This reward, along with the transaction fees from the transactions in the new block, provides the incentive for miners to continue their work. This process also ensures the network security. You see, to successfully attack the Ethereum network, a malicious actor would need more than 50% of the network's total computational power. This is practically impossible, making the Ethereum network extremely secure. Moreover, the miners' work doesn't stop at adding new blocks to the blockchain. They also keep the network operational by verifying and validating the information in each block. This includes the state of all accounts, smart contracts, and every transaction that has ever occurred. Now you might be thinking, that sounds like a lot of work and energy. And you'd be right. That's why Ethereum is transitioning to Ethereum 2.0, a new version of the platform that aims to be more scalable, secure, and sustainable. But we'll dive into that in our next segment. So the miners play a crucial role in keeping the Ethereum network secure and operational. But there's more to Ethereum than just mining. Let's delve deeper. In the ever-evolving world of blockchain technology, Ethereum is not just sitting on its laurels, it's gearing up for a significant upgrade known as Ethereum 2.0, or ETH2 for short. This upgrade aims to tackle two of the biggest challenges in the blockchain world: scalability and security. At the heart of Ethereum 2.0 is a new consensus mechanism called Proof of Stake, or PoS. In contrast to the energy-intensive proof-of-work system that Ethereum currently uses, PoS relies on validators who hold and lock up a certain amount of Ether as a stake. These validators are then chosen to create new blocks based on their stake and other factors, making the process much more energy efficient. But how does this improve security, you may ask? Well, if a validator behaves badly, their stake can be slashed, providing a strong incentive for validators to play by the rules. This not only maintains the integrity of the network, but also makes it more secure against potential attacks. Another exciting feature of Ethereum 2.0 is the introduction of shard chains. Currently, every transaction has to be processed by every node in the Ethereum network, which can lead to congestion and slow transaction speeds. Shard chains, on the other hand, divide the network into smaller pieces, each capable of processing its own transactions and smart contracts. This can significantly increase the network's capacity and speed. This combination of proof-of-stake and shard chains is set to revolutionize how Ethereum operates. It promises a future where transactions are faster, the network is more secure, and scalability is not a distant dream, but a reality. So, as we look towards the future of Ethereum, it's clear that Ethereum 2.0 is more than just an upgrade. It's a game changer, a new chapter in the story of blockchain technology. With Ethereum 2.0, the Ethereum network is gearing up for a future that's faster, more secure, and more scalable. So we've navigated the complex world of Ethereum, but what does this mean for you? We've delved into the labyrinth of Ethereum, exploring its multifaceted nature. We started with a simple question: what is Ethereum? We discovered it's more than just another cryptocurrency. It's a platform, a programming language, a global computer. It's the birthplace of smart contracts, these self-executing contracts with the terms of agreement directly written into code, providing transparency, security, and efficiency. We took a step back in time, tracing Ethereum's journey from its launch and foundation. We saw how it evolved, how it weathered storms, and emerged stronger, more resilient. We learned of its milestones, of the hard forks and upgrades that shaped its present. We demystified the process of Ethereum's operation. We unraveled the concept of mining, the backbone of Ethereum's network security. We understood how miners solve complex mathematical problems to validate transactions and add them to the Ethereum blockchain. We also took a peek into the future with Ethereum 2.0, a significant upgrade that promises to make Ethereum more scalable, more secure, and more sustainable. But why does all this matter? Why should you care about Ethereum? Because Ethereum is more than just a cryptocurrency. It's a revolution. It's a new way of doing things. Its smart contract functionality has the potential to transform various fields like finance, law, and logistics. It could redefine how we transact, how we enter into agreements, how we trust each other. Imagine a world where you can send money across the globe without the need for a bank, where you can enter into a contract without the need for a lawyer, where you can track a product from factory to store without a trace of doubt. That's the world Ethereum is building. And this is just the beginning. The potential applications of Ethereum are as vast as our imaginations. As we continue to explore and innovate, Ethereum's influence will only grow. But remember, with great potential comes great responsibility. The world of Ethereum, like any other, is not without its risks and challenges. It's a world that demands understanding, critical thinking, and a healthy dose of skepticism. It's a world that rewards those willing to learn, adapt, and innovate. So as we stand at the precipice of this brave new world, we must ask ourselves, are we ready? Are we ready to navigate the complexities, to embrace the potential, to face the challenges? Whether you're a crypto enthusiast or just a curious observer, understanding Ethereum is a step towards understanding the blockchain revolution that's shaping our world.